From the beginning of Game of Thrones, we are shown symbols. But have you ever thought, why are we shown these symbols? And what do these symbols mean? In this video series, I will tell you exactly what every symbol means in Game of Thrones.
They were right here, standing where we're standing. Before there were Targaryens, or Starks, or Lannisters. Maybe even before there were men.
No. What's the deal, my people? You know it is Don Tony Teflon, and I'm back at you another one. And in this video series, Game of Thrones, Things You Didn't Notice, I'm going to point out all those things you didn't notice. And we are going to start off with the symbols of Game of Thrones. And this is going to be at least a 3 to 4 part series. So make sure that you subscribe and hit that bell so you can be notified when I upload the next part of this video series. Now, in order to break down these symbols and come up with a true answer of why they're in this show and what they mean, we have to do a couple of things. But before we do that, we must ask ourselves this question. Are these symbols truly important? Because these symbols do not appear in the book at all. Well, my answer to that is this. Since George R. R. Martin has worked on this show, and these symbols have appeared since season 1, and they have been repeated since season 1, I believe that these symbols are important, and they will have some relevant meaning when dealing with the end game of this series. And I do believe that George R. R. Martin has approved these symbols since he has worked on this show since season 1. And as I said before, they are using the symbols over and over again. So now that we have established that fact, this is what I'm going to use to break down the symbols. Now, the most important thing is the symbol itself. Whether it's color, shape, what it's made out of, we're going to look at that. And then we're also going to look at when this symbol appears. And I think by using those two things, we will be able to determine exactly what the showrunners are trying to convey to us about these symbols. What story they're trying to tell us about these symbols. Now, we are introduced to our first symbol right off the back in the cold open of Game of Thrones Season 1, Episode 1. And I think that this opening scene is very prophetic. Now, what is this cold open supposed to tell us as viewers? I believe that it's supposed to tell us the whole story in a nutshell. It's supposed to tell us everything we can expect to get for the end of this show right in the beginning. Now, when the story opens, we are introduced to a bunch of Night's Watchmen, and they are led by a man named Sir Waymar Royce. Now, Sir Waymar Royce was a knight of House Royce, an ancient and proud noble family of the Vale of Arryn, and the youngest son of Jon Royce, Lord of Runestone, and the head of the family. He joined the Night's Watch and was placed amongst the Rangers due to his noble birth and skill at arms. Now, we don't get the backstory of Waymar Royce in the show, so I'm going to say that this symbol has nothing to do with Waymar Royce personally, or we would have gotten some type of backstory about him. But the fact that we didn't, we will say that the first symbol that we see has nothing to do with the Royces or House Royce or Waymar Royce in any way. So Waymar Royce is accompanied by Garrett and Will, and they go on a ranging mission beyond the wall to investigate the sighting of wildlings that are too close to the wall. Instead, they find whites and the White Walkers. Now, in the books, the encounter with the White Walkers is much different than we see in the TV show, and I do believe that it's done for a reason. Now, number one, as I said from the beginning of this video, the cold opening is to show you how it's going to end at the end of this series, right? So in the books, when we see Waymar Royce run into the White Walkers, he has a one-on-one sword fight with one of the White Walkers. And as I said in previous videos, if you're a fan of my channel, I do believe this is how it's going to end in Game of Thrones, with a one-on-one sword fight between Jon Snow and the Night's King. And I think if they would have did this it would have kind of gave that away. It would have also gave away the fact that the White Walkers aren't mindless creatures that just are here to kill the world. It would have shown that they had some type of culture and that they understood what tradition of the first men were. Alright, so we don't get that scene, but instead we get a similar type scene, because when the sword fight does go down, we can see that the other White Walkers are basically laughing at Waymar while he's trying to fight off this one White Walker. And we see this kinda with the way they do it in the show. But instead of them laughing at him because they don't want to have him, they're kind of fucking with him when they have the bodies out there in the symbol and then they remove the bodies from the symbol. The only reason why they did that was to scare him. So it shows at that particular time that they do have some type of culture and they are not just mindless zombies here to kill the world. So Waymar and Garrett are eventually killed, but they allow Will to survive so that he can tell everybody what he's seen. And we see this again happen later on with Samuel Tarly, where they let him survive. So that also shows that the White Walkers are not just some mindless creatures, but they are here on the mission. They have a plan. But what is this plan? I do believe we can tell exactly what this plan is from the symbols they have left behind. And the first clue is this first symbol. First, we must remember that this symbol was given to us right in the beginning, the cold open of the show. So as I said, this is to explain exactly what's going to happen at the end of the series. So when I look at this symbol, what do we see? We see human bodies being displayed, mutilated, put in disgusting positions, cut up in all different pieces, and left there. Alright, so what I think they're trying to say here is that death is coming, and death is coming for all of you. Nobody will be spared, not even the children. We will kill all the children too. Everyone is going to die. So I think that is the reason why they use the bodies of these wildlings to show that death is coming for human beings, and their children will not be spared also. To me, that is the meaning of this symbol. Death to all. Or you can just say winter is coming, right? Whatever you want to say, but death to everyone. That is the meaning. But what is this a symbol of? What is it? Now, when we look at this shape, I think it could be either one or two things. Number one would be a tip of dragon glass. It does look like it could be a dragon glass tip, but I don't think that's exactly what it is. I do believe that this is a picture of a leaf. And why would this be a picture of a leaf? Because Leaf is one of the children of the forest. In fact, Leaf is the children of the forest that we see put the dragon glass into the chest of the Night's King. So what I think this symbol is saying, it's saying that death is coming for all of you, and your children too will not be spared because of Leaf, who is the one who created the White Walkers. That's what I think they're trying to explain to you, trying to explain to us in this cold open. They're giving us who created the White Walkers and what the White Walkers are planning to do. That is what I think this is. But you tell me in the comment section if you think I'm right or if you have your own idea, because I'm very interested in hearing other people's ideas. And whoever comes up with the best idea, or the idea that I can fucks with the most, I will put that comment in my next video. Alright, I will display it in my next video and give you a shout out on that. So if you like the way I do this, please thumbs up this, please spread this across the realm, and please subscribe. And until next time, you know who it is. Peace and stay sexy.